Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Mike, and today's plot is St. Catherine of Siena, because today is, after all, the memorial of St. Catherine of Siena. St. Catherine was a Dominican tertiary in the 14th century. She only lived 33 years on earth, the exact same time as our Lord. Catherine is one of the only 4 female doctors of the church, and she's one of the original 2, first bestowed with that title by St. Paul VI in 1970. For our purposes today, we're going to focus on 2 of the most popular quotes of St. Catherine. The first has relevance to the present unpleasantness. Cards on the table. I was incredibly distressed, furious, I believe livid is the word I used in conversation with others, when our bishop, the Most Reverend Earl Boyer, first announced the suspension of public masses effective Wednesday, the 18th of March. I was inconsolable. I'm still inconsolable, just, after you're in incredible pain, you sort of get used to it. But he is still our bishop. I love our bishop. I've personally communicated with our bishop about our fish fry. We have a great bishop. Throughout the United States, we're very fortunate to have great bishops. But not everyone agrees. And not everyone has shown those bishops, the successors of the apostles, the deference and the respect that they deserve. Some people have called them exceedingly uncharitable names. Some people have accused the bishops of cowardice. Some people have accused the bishops of kowtowing to state authority. These people almost never give the bishops the benefit of the doubt that they've done whatever they have done in the interests of their people's health. Whether or not we agree with all the decisions they've made, they're still our bishops. They still deserve not only our respect, but our obedience. Now, some people use the example of St. Catherine as an example of a layperson who can speak truth to power. Because in Catherine's time, the popes were essentially held captive by the French king in Avignon. And Catherine is famous for going to Pope Gregory XI and telling him to be manly, not a timorous child. Telling him, up, father, from Avignon to go back to Rome. Now, some people have said, ha-ha! So this means we can say whatever we want to the bishops. After all, we've earned the right. Except, Catherine of Siena isn't a saint, isn't a doctor of the church, because she spoke so boldly to the Bishop of Rome, who was not resident in Rome at the time. That's putting the cart before the horse. She had the authority to speak that way to the Bishop of Rome because of her holiness. So it's not our anger that gives us the right to speak however we want to our bishops. We only have the right to speak in charity if we ourselves are as pursuing holiness as seriously as did St. Catherine. The other quote from St. Catherine I want to discuss is the great one. Be who you were meant to be who God meant you to be, and you will set the world on fire. Now, it's okay to misquote that because it was written in early medieval Italian, so, whatever I read in English is going to be a translation anyway. But this is especially important because we're coming up on a very important but often neglected day in the history of the church. For years now, the 4th Sunday of Easter has been observed as the World Day of Prayer for Vocations. You've probably never heard of it because in most of our parishes, it's not a thing. It's certainly not in my parish. We may have a item in the bulletin, but certainly nothing will be said. No special prayers will be prayed for vocations. It just sort of passes by the wayside. But think about St. Catherine's words. If you are who God meant you to be, you will set the world on fire. Every one of us is called first and foremost, Our principal vocation is to be a saint. And if we were the saints that we're supposed to be, if we were pursuing the Lord as relentlessly and as purely as he seeks us, we'd be the saints we're supposed to be. If we were as radically dedicated to him as was St. Catherine, then we would set our world on fire the way that she set her world on fire. So, my brothers and sisters, I'm in the midst of praying a novena ahead of the World Day of Prayer for Vocations. Now, this day focuses specifically on vocations to the priesthood, to the diaconate, and to the religious life, both male and female. But there are many other vocations. The vocation to holy sacramental marriage, and of course then the principal vocation every one of us has, to holiness. So, I urge you to, in some way, to pray for vocations, to pray that each and every one of us will be, like St. Catherine said, all that we are meant to be, and that thus each one of us will be able to set this world on fire with the love of Christ. St. Catherine did not pursue worldly glory. She pursued God, and as a result, she has earned otherworldly glory. And we can learn from her example. That's what being a doctor of the church means. It's a teacher of the whole church. We can all learn from her radical abandonment to the will of God. And if we do the same, then like her, we will be all God meant us to be. Each and every one of us will fully live out our vocation, and then we will all set the world on fire. Subscribe to our channel, ring the church bell to be notified when tomorrow's plot is uploaded, because it's Easter. Give this episode a thumbs up, and comment below with what you are doing to both pursue your own personal vocation and to encourage vocations to the clerical state. And until next time, which, again, will be tomorrow because it's Easter, remember to live your faith, love your faith, share that love. Be all that you were meant to be, and set your world on fire.